Tag from Deutschland. Hi, my name is Sylvia, and I thought I would join the Flosstube party. I think you guys have so much fun and everybody does such a great job, and I thought it would be great if I could share my stitching with you as well. And probably also some of my European adventures. So I have been here for 10 years after living in the US for 30, and before that I grew up here in Germany, and I'm going to take my glasses off because the glare is sort of bothering me. And I moved here with all my kids and my husband. My kids have since returned to the US either to study or to work, and we are left here with two very spoiled, sweet dogs. And I really love living here. I speak the language, and I work for a Christian charity, and I absolutely love my job. So I wanted to start with recapping 2019. I participated in that Stitch 9 challenge. Didn't get it all done, got 8 out of the 9 done. Finished a couple other things though too. And just one, I barely got a start on it. So let me show you what I worked on in 2019 and finished. So the first thing I finished was Jeanette Douglas's Spring Bird. I really enjoyed this one, and the colors are fabulous. So here is the finish. The only thing I still have to do, well, it's not finished because I didn't put the beads on yet. I will have to do that. This was stitched during my vacation in Thailand, so such great memories. That was such a nice vacation. And the next one thing I finished is also a Jeanette Douglas. And am I holding this upside down? Yeah, I sure am. Okay. Here you go. And it is, I think, a kit that came from the Silver Needle. But I bought it probably on Stash on Load or something like that. And here it is. Again, it's not completely finished. Oh, let me see. I have to FFO it. Can you see? It has the whole border out around our specialty stitches. And while I do like specialty stitches, this one was a little much. The linen I actually picked for color and didn't really pay attention to size. I think it's a hand-dyed fiber linen from, no, I can't even say what it is. But anyways, I liked the color. So as a result, some of the specialty stitches just look a little light. But I'm overall pretty happy with it. I'm glad it's done. The other thing I stitched was Henpeck by Plum Street Sampler. Here I stitched it on 40 count vintage country mocha. I'm really lucky that I have access to the Zweigart factory. It's about it's about a 2-hour drive away. They have like open door days from in German, and that's when you can always go to the store, but on those days they have like extra special good deals, and they have a room full of linens. They don't only do cross-stitch linens, they do household linens as well, or household materials, and they sell it by weight, and it's so dirt cheap. Now I didn't get the vintage country mocha there. I went to the store when we were on the road one time and picked it up, but it's a pretty good deal when you go there, and you can find also some fabulous clearance linens. So anyways, 40 count vintage country mocha. I just picked my own colors. I know the red is one from Victorian Motto. If I had the color that it called for, I used it, but if I didn't, I just picked what I thought would look pretty. So there it is. I'm going to finish this with a denim backing. I think that just kind of the American spirit and chickens and farm and the whole bit. So I have saved a few of my kids' old jeans, and I use them for finishing every once in a while or fun things. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. I also finished the Plum Street Heritage Sampler. I started that 2 years ago. It is done on, it's tiny. It is done on a 48 count linen. I'll hold it a little closer. There you go. And So this over one stitching was a bear. Even on her pattern, Paulette always has such a good sense of humor. She wrote something like, "What's all this over one stitching?" You know. So 48 count. This is gander linen. This is a French linen, and the company no longer exists, unfortunately. It was located in France, right across the border from Germany, in the Alsace region, and they made fabulous linen, not only for stitching but also for household linen like curtains and upholstery fabric and such, tablecloths. So yeah, the Mr. Gander died, and with that the factory closed, and that was the last one that actually produced the traditional Alsatian cloth. And I do have some household stuff that I might pull out and share with you because it's really cool stuff. So 48 count, I dyed this myself and finished it last year. It's already mounted and ready to put on a frame. I have some vintage hand painted, like wood grain painted frames, 2 of them, and this one will go in one, and her companion piece that is not out yet, that was a retreat piece, I'm waiting for that, and that will go in the other. Okay, I also finished Blackbird Design, Live Each Season as It Passes. I just love the fabric and thread combo. This is an R&R. I can't tell you what it is. It's probably in the pattern, and the pattern has left the building, so I've passed that on since these are no longer available. But I have the frame ready to go. It's not ironed because I was testing out if it fit in the frame and whatnot, and it does. So I just need to mount it, iron it obviously, and then frame this baby. And also another Blackbird. It's I started this when it first came out. This is, I know you all know this, Quaker Garden. Pattern again has been passed on and is no longer available. It was stitched on the called for fabric. I will be honest, I did not enjoy stitching this at all. Not that I don't like the pattern, I love the pattern. Oh, but the fabric and stitching with 2 threads, all not my favorite. I think it's an R&R, but it's a pretty loose weave and it's pretty coarse, and stitching with 2 threads, not my thing. So, but it's done, and I am very happy about that. The other thing I finished is, I'm gonna have to stand up with, I don't know if I'm gonna have to stand up or not. Let's see. I already have the backing fabric. Oh, oops. Okay, the tip of the stocking is, there we go. Okay, here it is. Ooh, okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. It is Melina Virtuous Woman Stocking by Carriage House Samplings. And I was about here when I put this on the Stitch 9 challenge. And this bottom is a bear. Holy moly. I'm so glad it's done. I got this stocking pattern fabric kit, the whole thing, from Kathy Bark when I went to a Hands to Work retreat. She did a couple retreats way back when, and I just wanted to go. It was my first retreats. I'm really fond of all the projects that come from this retreat. And Tracy Riffle was so funny. So quick story. Okay, wait. So this is stitched on 36 count. A lakeside linen with the NPIs. So I went on my own. It was up in Virginia or West Virginia, I can't remember. And Blackbird Design was there, and Carriage House Samplings, and Maggie Bonanami, don't quote me on the name. And so I'm signing in. So my back is turned and I'm signing in. And Tracy Riffle comes up to me and kind of like gives me a pat and says, "Hey, Black Betty." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And so from the back, she had confused me with somebody else, and she was so embarrassed. Anyways, but come to find out that Tracy Riffle is quite the joker, the practical joker from what I've heard. And it was really such a fun retreat when there weren't that many retreats around, and she did a fabulous job, and I'm so happy that she's going to start designing again. I love her stuff. And not that I've stitched a lot. I've stitched like the little stockings. She has some stocking patterns, I think, and like bag pattern that I have. And there's a couple others that I'm just goofy about and I want to start, but they're not on my immediate radar. They're probably kitted up though, or mostly. Okay, so those, and then there's one little one, and the finishing's not very good. So this is I'm going to hold this thing because otherwise it's going to come falling out. Okay, you can see this is a tiny basket by Colonial Designs, and it was a gift, and I thought it was time. Like I had stitched like this part, and it was just time to finish it. You can see it's all over one. Sweet little thing. Okay. What else did I finish? So what I didn't finish is, and I was going to look up the pattern and I forgot. I don't know the official name, but I think it's Farm Fresh. No. Well, it's the one with the eggs. Hands-on Design. Sorry to look away. Hands-on Design, Farm Fresh Eggs, or something like that. It's the first of the Chalk on the Farm series, and I have little threads coming with. So these are the colors. I think most of them are called for, and that was my pathetic start. But again, if I didn't have them, the called for colors, I just used what I had and what I thought would look nice. The fabric I dyed myself. This is a 40 count, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, 40 count, but it's a sturdier linen, and the holes are pretty decent. I can see them. So with good light, I have no problem stitching on this. So I'll show you what I did finish at the beginning of the year was the little companion piece, and it's completely done, and I just love it. So it's not the super black fabric, it's more of a chalky gray. But anyway, so one of these days, I won't get back to it this year because I have other plans, but one of these days I'm going to finish completely. Okay, so what else did I finish? I don't have the pattern here, but this one is Plum Street Samplers Hello Spring. It's FFO. This is some Liberty of London fabric in the back, a little bit of rickrack, thanks to Chelsea and Priscilla, who totally inspired me. And this is a 35 count linen. I believe it's an R&R linen. And because I wanted to use this piece, this was a leftover piece from another Plum Street sampler that I finished. I had to, the little swirl wouldn't quite fit, so I had to shorten it, but I don't think it loses anything through a little shorter swirl. And I just didn't want to write Hello Spring, so that's that. And it's about to come back out. Oh, I'll go a little closer so you can see the colors. Colors are a little bit what's called for and a little bit what's not. So there it is. The pattern, like a lot of the patterns that I'm done with, I don't keep them. And the other thing I finished was this little Blackbird Design heart. Okay, Kindred Stitcher just mentioned where this came from. This was from Market 2 years ago. It's a book. This pattern is in the back. I used this is the called for fabric, which I think is Tango, PTP Tango, but don't quote me. And I used some hand-dyed fiber silk that looked really different on the skein, but as you see, once you stitch it, it's pretty similar. There's barely any difference. And I did use the bead finish how they did it, but I used little sequin needles instead of big ones. Sequin needles are, I'll pull one out. They're much shorter. They're like that, and I use them for when I frame things. And the back is just a cotton that sort of matches the front. Now, Kindred Stitcher did hers in velvet, which I love. I don't have any velvet on hand that color. So, and what I tend to do is I take my backing and I I divide it in two and I leave an opening where I can stuff and then I close it. For me, it just seems a lot easier to do than leaving something side open. And then I tried the whole cutting it open and stuffing it and then sewing it shut and putting a heart over it or something, which would have looked cute on this, but it's like this. So that's the other thing I finished. For me, that was a pretty prolific year, I must say. I'm a pretty slow stitcher, and although that one back there, Snooty Parrot, I did do in the year. I went along with the stitch along and I finished. One of the things I'm working on this year was also stitch along, and I am the world's worst stitch alonger. Don't invite me to a stitch along. I'll be all gung ho and then boop, done, not finishing. Okay, so I have made new plans for this year. I know there is a stitch 10 and 20 challenge. I don't think I'm going to go with that because I felt sort of limited last year, and although I finished stuff and I thought that was really great, I was just hankering, you know, like I really want to stitch this, I really want to stitch that. So the positives is on the challenge was I stayed on track and I got most of it done. For me, the negative was I felt sort of obligated to do it, which you shouldn't feel, but I'm just like that. The other thing, I did forget to mention that I stitched another piece, but I didn't finish it yet. I will finish it this year. I want this on my wall. And I didn't bring the pattern down. So this again is on 40 count vintage country mocha, which seriously people, it's such a great linen to stitch on. It's printed on the front, but it's pretty soft, and the back is not printed, so you can clearly tell the front from the back, and I just think it looks great, and it's a joy to stitch on. It's really nice. So Louisa Colonial, this is a hands across the sea sampler. It was out of print and now is back in print, and what I love about her, among other things, is the size. So I'm not stitching on red for the next 3 years because that's how long it would take me to finish the big one. I don't even know what her name is. Harriet. Okay, I won't try. So Louisa Collimore, I stitched this for a devotional. Everybody that works for our charity has to take turns. We take turns every morning doing devotionals. So for me, that was super stressful because I had to do it in German, and although I do speak the language, I don't always have the vocabulary. So my let's say Christian vocabulary is strong in English, and it's better in German now than it used to be. But these were done. These are Bristol Orphanage samplers, and if you read the story of George Mueller, the founder of, you can just Google him, George Mueller. He was a German rascal that turned his life around. It's a fabulous story, and it's so inspiring. So that's what I did, and I will finish her this year. I think I said that. So let's do 2020. This year, I have, again, plans. I'm a planner, and I forget, I was watching a Flosstube video. It's an Aussie stitcher. She does beautiful things. Her name starts with an R, and I promised myself I would look her up, and I didn't. I forgot. But, okay, so she was like talking about plans, and then she just stopped and said, you know, how can you make plans from January to December? Because the market hasn't even happened yet. And I started laughing. I'm like, oh, so true. Market hasn't. And usually there's tons of stuff that's like, ooh, I love it and I want it and I want to stitch it. So I did make plans. Hopefully with enough flexibility that I can squeeze some other stuff in there. So the first thing I'm returning to is the stitch along that I didn't finish, which a lot of people are working on this, have worked, have finished, are working, etc. His eye, or what do you call it? His eye is on the sparrow. I love that verse, and I love, love, love the sampler. So I'm doing this on, oh, it's a big one. Here it is. On 48 count gander linen that I dyed myself. It looks a little pink here. It's not quite that pink. It's more in the tannish range. Okay, so I'm gonna come closer. It'll be not as big as some of the others because it's on 48 count. I did decide I love a blue house, and I'm a color person, so my house has a red door, a yellow door, and the other side again will feature a red door. So there it is. And this little baby, or big baby, is getting, oh, and you will see that I just park all my threads right there, and when I need it again, I take the skein and color compare and find, you know, I take the skein, I look at the color, I see if there's something on the needle, and I'll use that up. So that's my crazy strategy on how I stitch. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, the timing on this. So the first, well, I started January 1st again on this. It gets 2 weeks of love, but only during the weekday. And on the weekends, I get to stitch something else. So that happens the first 2 weeks of the month. And even though this month is going to have 5 weeks, I'll return to that after this week and do the last week because I really do want to finish this. So it's going to get a little extra love. And it has all the called for, which I won't hold up because mine don't look like Nicole from Nicole Needles work. I've tried the whole, oh, look how pretty. Doesn't look like that. Then on the weekends, when I am during that 2 weeks, okay, I'm gonna have to bend down. Sorry, people. Oh, okay. So, oh, let me talk about this fabulous bag. It's open. I'm gonna close it for proper effect. Check this out. Is this not fabulous? I literally, seriously, almost cried when I got it. This was a present from, it's a little fuzzy. This is a present from Michelle, Cozy Egg. I had been watching Kitten Stitcher, whom I really, really love for her being just who she is and genuine and so caring. Anyways, or as some of you know that are watching her, she does a project bag exchange with Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche every month. And I thought that was so, so cool. And because my friends all live far away I don't have any stitching friends here in Germany. Would love to have some if there's any around. Anyway, so I thought it was going to be a fabulous idea, although once a month for me was way too ambitious. So I checked with Michelle and I said, hey, do you want to do this every other month? And she was like, yeah, I'd love to. And so this one came for my birthday. It's actually the October bag, but it came in November. And she made that for me. And I am just goofy about this. I love this. Here's the inside. How fun. And so what lives in this bag? Oh, yeah, nope. Is my fabric in here? It is. I'm going to take that out and set the bag over here. I am going to stitch, well, this, a moment in chalk, but I'm not going to stitch this yet. So I'll turn it around so you can see. I'm starting on the outside, which is super risky, but oh, what's life unless you take a few risks, right? So I'm gonna, every month on the weekend, those 2 weekends that I have with Sparrow, I will stitch one of these monthly squares and work on the border and the inner border so that I can make sure that this fits properly. I just love that pattern, hands-on design. So here's my start. This is January. I don't have the buttons on there. Here is the, so there's the, so you can see I don't have the buttons, which I will do at the end, and my pathetic border, but I just wanted to get to the square. And believe you me, this over 4 under 2, I had to do it 3 times before. It took like all one Saturday, the stitching time that I had before I got this thing right. And it was really important for me to get it right. So here it is. This is a 35 count, which without looking through my magnification light, it's a no-go. So I tried to do this just with the light on, and I was like, okay. 3 hours later, I'm like, yeah, let's look through the magnification loop. This is a 35 count mermaid blue from Vicki Clayton. She dyed some really very reasonable fabric, and it is really pretty. So it's almost black. It's a little bit mottled. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. There you go. There it is. I'm going to be very tight on the margins, but it is what it is. Not this way, but up and down. But I think I'll manage. So there's that. That's the weekend plan. And so I plan to have all 12 months done by the end of the year. And next year I will fill in the middle of that. Oh, okay. So the next project is, you're going to laugh because I'm like, oh, the woman's crazy. So I have all 4 patterns of the girls, the French girls. L'hiver. Okay, I do speak French, but this one's hiver. So can't say it with it. L'hiver. There you go. This is winter. I have started, so I started this a number of years ago. That's why I want to finish it. And they're all on the same fabric individually. So here is what I got done. I get to work on it for 1 week, all 7 days. And this one's hard. These branches, oh, so tedious. Okay, so there's that. And so 1 week, every month for the season. That's the plan. We'll see how long that goes. Spring is coming. So here's how far I got on my spring. And if you look, I have started in various corners because I thought it would be fun. I don't know. Okay, here's the pattern. Le printemps. Okay. And here is summer. I love spring and I love the summer one. I love the winter one too. It's just a lot harder to stitch. There is where I am with summer. Oh, I forgot to tell you. So it is 32 count over 1. Yes, sirree, Bob. There we go, teeny tiny. Because I love teeny tiny, not necessarily over 1. Here is the pattern. These are still available as far as I know. And the last one is l'automne. Here she is. She has some really great colors also. Now, if you notice, her hair is not the same. And it's not as orange. Ooh, because I didn't like that haircut. Just did nothing for me. And I changed it. Wasn't easy, but I did. So I think she looks fine this way. There's that. Then I have 1 week where I can work on my smalls. And I have such a large collection of smalls in kits and in patterns. And this all started with me watching Priscilla and Chelsea. And they do so many great smalls. And, you know, Priscilla is the queen of decorating. So I get to work a week on various smalls. So here's the one I'm finishing up. It is Mary 2 by A Bowl Full of Marys, Plum Street Sampler. I switched out the fabric. This is red pear. I saw somebody, and I don't know who anymore, on Flosstube that did it on Aztec Red, I believe. Red pear, this is by Weeks Dye Works, and they did Aztec Red, and I think that's Weeks Dye Works also. And it looked so fabulous, but this is what I had, so this is what I went with. I did have to change out one color. Here are, yes, let me Nicoleify them right now. Here we go. Okay, well, a little bit better. So I switched out whatever this color is, the lighter, oops, let's get closer, the lighter red, the lighter pink for mulberry, which is kind of a brownie, brownish red, but it works on that fabric. So there we go. And that should finish up maybe today or tomorrow, depending on how much time I have. And I'm going on to this one for this week. This is Threadwork Primitives, Winter 1737. And I've coffee dyed the fabric. It's prairie cloth. which is a interesting cloth. Speckles in it. Is pretty stretchy. It's not iron, so that's why I'm not showing it to you. But I did coffee dye it, which is what the instructions say, and I'm gonna have to stitch over to, but I will do it. So this is Brother in Blue. This all came in a kit that I probably picked up on one of the sales sites. So that's for this week. And then I start with Sparrow the next week. What I also have going on the side, squeeze it in sometime because I'm waiting for the patterns. Now I'm lucky enough that even though I live in Germany, I have a US shipping address. That means my husband works for the armed forces. That means that my box on the base counts as a US shipping address. So I'm lucky that I can order off of any website in the US and it gets shipped here for pretty much the same amount as it would in the US. So this is Noah's Christmas, the start of it, over one on a Legacy 34 count. I don't know what color this is, but I had it in my stash. I'll come closer. It's so cute. This first one is a freebie. You can find that on Paulette's blog. I don't have the patterns yet. They're on order. Have been for, yeah, almost 2 months now. Sometimes waiting for the stuff is what's hard. Here, and things do take a little longer to get to me, so here are the flosses, and again I picked what I had. If I had the right one, I put it in. Now the pattern calls for parchment. It's not working on my linen, so I'm going to switch it out to a really bright white. You can't see the white on my linen, so there's that. Well, I'll just hold it up together. La la, there we go. So when the next pattern, I have one. I have the Arc 3, but I don't want to take the risk of going down because that's 6 down, and what if I make a mistake? Then, not happening. And I'm the queen of mistakes, and I'm usually one that I'll just adjust or whatever, but on this one, it has to be pretty exact. Sorry, my dog is whining. The small one, she's a whiner. You never know what she wants. I mean, sometimes you know what she wants, but like if she's just standing around whining, I don't know what she wants. And we've had her 7 years almost. Millie, come introduce yourself. Crying dog. Come here, Millie. Come here. Nope. Crying but won't come. Okay. Oh wait, here she is. Come here, baby. Oh, nope, she jumps backwards. No, there's no picking up her. Picking up her. Okay, and the other thing I want to stitch before winter is over is this very cute freebie by Glory Bee. Can you see? It says winter with like a snowman and a snow shovel. Hi, girlfriend. I'll get to you in just a minute. And I pulled the threads, but not fabric yet, but I'll get to that. So that shouldn't take long, and I'll probably do this in February. But I also want to stitch a little bit of hearts and sunshine. There's a needle flying around with thread. This is my life. Anyways, I want to do one Valentine's project. So there it is. Okay. Now, ooh, you guys, I love you guys that are so organized. It's not me, but let me see if I kind of piled stuff, okay, onto my stash. And I kind of remove it without tossing everything to the ground. There we go. That's the stuff I finished. So a little bit of stash enhancement. My stash has exploded since I've started watching Flosstube. It's terrible, especially when I watch people like Nicole of Nicole's Needlework, who's my stitching hero, because she finishes her stuff. And my stitching soulmate is Laura from the Serial Starter, because she likes to start stuff, and so do I. I love to kit things up. Absolutely love to kit things up. I have tons of stuff kitted up. I'm just such a slow stitcher. Who knows if I'll ever get to it. That's a separate hobby. Stash enhancing and kitting up, those are 2 separate hobbies, and then stitching is the third. So, not to be confused. All right, so I'm in a club with Crazy Annie. I want to take out this card because it covers up what the goodies in there. And I am in the Lady Dot Creates Club. This one for January was Once in a Blue Moon. I also, I think I signed up for the buttons, the Just Another Button Company buttons or pins. I think they're so cute. And I stitch on small counts. So I don't know why I did that because they'll never fit, but I'll figure it out. So this is a finishing kit. Finishing materials, not a kit, but finishing materials. And, oh, let's see if we can see everything. I don't know if okay, no. Okay, so all kinds of little doohickeys there. You probably can't see very well. There's some pins, really pretty. That ribbon is right, and there you go. There, now you can see it. Buttons, more. There's some more pins there, like these pins, chenille, satin ribbons. I forget what this stuff's called. Somebody can tell me that. I know what it's called. It's just not coming to me. Anyways, so, and fabric. And I thought it'd be fun to just collect this, and since I want to work on a lot of smalls, and just have this handy. I'm hoping for some velvet also. Some more stash enhancement. I have actually quite a bit. I'm not going to show it all. I'll just pace myself throughout. I bought these bow-in scissors. The tag is still on there. Bow-in. And the reason why is because it's got the Eiffel Tower. Anything with Paris, I'm all in. We love Paris. Been there many times. My husband used to work in France, not stationed in France, but he had to do work in France, and so we went a lot, and it's great. Love this. I'm a chicken fan. I'm a threadboard fan with a magnet. This is Retromantics Fripperies, and they have a bunch of really nice threadboards. And what I was, and the back says this with a ruler. What I was always concerned about is sticking my silks through here, and I haven't stuck any silks through these holes. They're pretty smooth, but I tend to stick with cottons. And I think it'd be perfect for when you're stitching either with Anchor or DMC, and to get them hanging like that. Another that I'll be working on this year too are these Whirligigs. So fun, so cute, and should be rather quick. So here's Winter Whirligig. Love the cardinal. There are no cardinals here in Germany, or in Europe actually. I think I read, so they don't exist here. The bunny. So these two need to be done ASAP. Here's the summer Whirligig. The chicken. I did say I love chickens. I love chickens. One more time. And the squirrel. And I looked at them and I'm like, hey, I can make a chicken out of that. But no, it'll stay the squirrel. So, and I did for my birthday. Yeah, I had a birthday in November. So this stash enhancement is it's not from November. It was ordered in November. It just came like a week and a half ago. Yep, I gotta wait. I gotta be real patient. So I got the little earthenware tin. What's it called? Heartware. And so I'll be switching those out. They're all stitched on 32 count Ren. Here it is. I already kitted up a few, or I've started pulling the threads, and again, I'll have to stitch over 2, but it's little, and I think I can survive that. There's that. So the other thing I'm going to start very soon is, Stacy Nash's, her name is Primrose. She is so cute, and I want to ask Stacy, which she probably will never watch my YouTube, make a chicken. Oh, she does have a chicken. Of course she does. I have it. Never mind. Thank you, Stacy. Okay, so the bunny is first. Primrose, and I have the called for Weeks Dye Works, and it calls for a 36 count linen Havana. I'm just gonna have to look at my stash. I know I don't have Havana, but I'll have something that will work, or I can dye it a darker. Or I can stitch her smaller on 40 count, or even 46 count, and she'll be like this big. Speaking of 46 count, I got some linen. This is 46. These are all 46 count Mocha Weeks Dye Works on the Zweigart base, and it's just really beautiful linen. So I got this for a pattern needle made. I don't know what the sampler is. I'll see if I'll remember to pull it for next time. but it's so, so pretty and calls for mocha. I definitely want to stitch that. 46 count straw. There. Very pretty. I figured out that those Uffendale sisters, if you stitch it on 46 count, you can get it easily on, if I figured it out correctly, on a fat quarter of 46 count. And I love stitching on 46 count, so I think that's going to be my plan. Confederate gray, what a pretty color. 46 count. Don't, oh, so, okay, so this is for that Santa that, with a needle and thread, Brenda Gervais put out here right before Christmas. And that was stitched on 46 count Confederate gray. So, yeah, for some reason I got this really big piece. And I'm sure it'll fit. And something else too, of course. And that is the bottom. I'm done. Okay. I hope this one is a go. Oh, I wanted to do a giveaway to celebrate the start. Yeah, okay, I buried it somewhere. Hold on. Lordy people, I don't know how you stay organized. So, a funny story. This is the second take. Oh, here it is. This is the second take of my video. The first one was a hot mess. Hot mess. This one's not great either, but whatever. But the funny thing was, is so when I faced the camera, everything was fine. But when I turned my head and looked down, what I didn't realize was, because it's the back of my head, was that my hair, I had taken the dogs for a walk and it's pretty cold outside, so I had a cap on. And I totally had like a cockatoo effect happening back here. And so every time I bent down to pick up something or something, see that? I was like, no, that's not gonna fly. So my giveaway for the first Flosstube, for my first Flosstube, since Valentine's Day is coming up, is going to be Love Crazy by Lizzie and Kate. It's an oldie but a goodie. And since I live in Germany and it is the land of chocolate, I will include some really good German chocolate in that. You just have to tell me in your comment whether you like dark or milk. And that's exactly what I'm going to be looking for. Dark, the word dark or milk. You don't have to write chocolate. And I guess the rules are don't say giveaway or freebie or whatever. Just somewhere in there, put dark or milk. And I will I will come back in 2 weeks and draw a name and let you know. And I'll just film it and put it in my next video, but I'll comment on your comment prior to that. So, because I'd like you to have it before Valentine's Day so that you can enjoy your chocolate. I probably won't be making videos more than once a month because I'm relatively slow and a slow stitcher. I'm a slow stitcher. And so I wouldn't have much to show. And that's no fun. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in and hope to see you in about a month's time. Bye.